Hey everybody, this is GGB co-host Poppers. Today we're going to be talking the Saints-Jaguars games. Let's get into these winners and losers. So straight up, a winner, in my opinion, has got to be Jameis Winston, right? I feel like most Saints fans or anyone who really watched this game would agree that he probably won the starting job with this game he had tonight. I feel like he was going to win it anyways, but he went 9-10, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 3 drives, and he scored a touchdown on 2 of them. That's crazy to me. What an insane game by Jameis Winston. He looked absolutely incredible. He was dropping dimes out there to the players. I'll go with another winner is C.J. Beathard, because in my opinion, C.J. Beathard probably played himself into a third-string spot tonight. Now, he still has to play well in the third preseason game, but he looked really good. He threw 9 of 14. He threw for 121 yards, threw for 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's really solid. That's solid production out of a number 3 option for this team. He's a winner, in my opinion. C.J. Beathard really came away from this game looking like a possible starter on this team. Let's go to the receiving, because I don't think any running backs really won tonight. Now, Tony Jones Jr. and Dwayne Washington both had pretty solid games on the ground, but it wasn't insanely good. So I'm going to move on to the receiving game. I'm going to go with 2 winners on the Saints side of things and 1 winner on the Jaguars side of things. So let's start with a person I think won this game. And if you're Marquez Callaway, you won this game. I just don't see any way around it. He had 5 catches. He was targeted 5 times. He had a 104 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And if you go back, watch their highlight plays. And honestly, if you've been following the Saints, Marquez Callaway looks like a number 1 receiver. He honestly does. I can't believe the man went undrafted. He is easily, right now, the best receiver available for this team. And once Michael Thomas gets back, it's going to be a deadly 1-2 punch with Marquez and Michael Thomas. And then not to mention, you also have Tre'Quan Smith and Deontay Harris, and you're going to have other people to throw to. It's going to be crazy. I think this is going to be a really good game. I'm really interested to see who ends up winning that number 2 spot. Number 3 spot after Marquez Callaway. I'm excited to see Marquez Callaway get some actual starting time. Now, another receiver I think won. 2 receivers I think won are Lil Jordan Humphrey and Ty Montgomery. Lil Jordan Humphrey ended up having 4 catches after being targeted 5 times for 74 yards and a touchdown. Ty Montgomery, on the other hand, had 3 catches for 53 yards, no touchdown, after being targeted 4 times. But if you go look to the Saints depth chart, according to ESPN, now, Michael Thomas is going to be out at the start of the season, and Deontay Harris is going to be most likely out. But right now, according to ESPN, if the season started today, let's say Michael Thomas is healthy, Lil Jordan Humphrey and Ty Montgomery would both land on the roster if they keep around 6 receivers. And that's good. That's good for them. But they definitely need to play well. Chris Hogan, Quan Baker, both behind him and ready to go. They both look really solid. So, my opinion, winners, Lil Jordan Humphrey and Ty Montgomery both look like they could possibly be playmakers on this team. I'm really excited to see how this goes for these guys. Lil Jordan Humphrey has a huge body that you can definitely use, and then you have Ty Montgomery, who's a smaller receiver, but also really quick and is a very smart player. So I'm really excited to see. These guys both won today, by the way, if they want to make the roster, and I believe they do, obviously. And then the other player I'm going to have winning is Jeff Cotton. Jeff Cotton, if you did not know, he was not drafted. It's his first season out of Idaho. And honestly, I don't think anyone expected Jeff Cotton to make the roster, because if you look at ESPN, which is how I get my depth charts, I know it's not 100% accurate, but it's mostly accurate, I believe. You have DJ Chark Jr. as the 1 spot, Marvin Jones Jr. at the 2 spot, and then Laviska Shenault Jr. at the number 3 spot. I feel like those are pretty much all agreed upon by most people. Now, on the other hand, the number 4, 5, and 6, I believe, are very much up for grabs. But if you look at it, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12, none of them have Jeff Cotton on it. You have Colin Johnson, Philip Dorsett II, Jamal Agnew, Farrell Cooper, Laquan Treadwell, Josh Hammond, Tavon Austin, Jalen Camp, Tevin Jones. None of those people are Jeff Cotton. So according to Jaguars, he's best case scenario, the 13th best receiver on this team. He did not look like the 13th best receiver on this team tonight. He had 4 catches 50 yards, and a touchdown. He was only targeted 5 times, which means he only didn't catch one of his targets. So, my opinion, looked really solid out there tonight. And honestly, if I had to make the roster right now, I mean, Colin Johnson would be on it, but I don't know if I believe that Philip Dorsett should be on this roster. I just don't know if I believe that. And Jeff Cotton definitely proved his case tonight. I don't know if there's anyone on the defensive side of things that looked all that great. Wynton McManus. Actually, I take that back. Wynton McManus is not playing. He's not going to be on this roster. Like, if you look at the New Orleans Saints roster, a linebacker, they normally play 2 linebacker sets. They mostly go in a nickel. Nickel formation is their main formation. So, they could keep 5 or 6. Like, I think 5 or 6 linebackers is notable. Okay. But obviously, Demario Davis and Quan Alexander are going to make it. Zach Bond and Pete Warner are both going to make it. And then there's an argument between Andrew Dowell, Caden Ellis, and Chase Hansen, right? Wynton McManus, one of those people aren't going to make it. And they love Caden Ellis, Chase Hansen, and Andrew Dowell. They love all 3 of them. But the likelihood of Wynton McManus making this roster, I would put it absolutely 0. Now, he could be on the practice squad for a year. If he plays well, maybe he can make it onto the roster. But as I see it right now, I just don't see a situation where Wynton McManus can make the roster. But then Wynton McManus went off today. He really went off. And he's trying to... Honestly, this is showing off for another team possibly. And he had 7 total tackles, 5 solo tackles, 3 pass deflections, not to mention an interception. So, he had a very good night, in my opinion, tonight. He definitely proved himself worthy of that. He looked good. He really looked good. On the other side of things, I think another winner is Aldrick Rosas. Now, Aldrick Rosas, again, only kicked 1 field goal. It was a 52-yard field goal, so it was long, and he missed an extra point. But he kind of proved that he can be that kicker while Will Lutz is out, and I think that's what we kind of needed to see out of him tonight. So, in my opinion, good job by Aldrick Rosas. Great game by him. Now I'm going to go with some losers here. Right off the bat, a big loser of the night is Taysom Hill, just simply because Taysom Hill did not look as good as Jameis Winston, and this was likely the deciding factor who won the starting gig, and Taysom Hill only went 11 to 20, 138 yards and a touchdown. Now, that sounds good, but he did not look great. He almost threw a pick. Honestly, it probably should have been called a pick, but for some reason it was called incomplete, which I'm not going to complain about as a Saints fan, but Taysom did not look as good as Jameis out there today. That's all I have to say about Taysom Hill. Now, on the other side of things, another loser of the night is Gardner Minshew. Now, Gardner Minshew looked okay, I guess, but he's definitely not like what we were expecting from the number 1 overall pick. The fact that he went 14 to 23, 113 yards. Now, to be fair, he's playing against mostly first-string defense. Like, the defense for the Saints is going to be stout. Like, Cam Jordan was in his first game back. Demario Davis was out there playing, so was Quan Alexander in his first game back in a Saints uniform. You had Marcus Davenport harassing you, as well as Cam Jordan. You had... Now, Marshawn Lattimore wasn't playing, but you have Marcus Williams in the secondary, as well as Chauncey and Malcolm Jenkins. Like, I mean, it was a tough game. If you're Trevor Lawrence, you're going against one of the better defenses in the entire NFL. So it actually makes sense, but honestly, he didn't look phenomenal, and I'm a little bit worried for him. And then another loser I have tonight, it's got to be the Travis Etienne after the breaking news came out. And if you did not know, Travis Etienne is most likely going to miss the entire 2021 NFL season, which just really hurts if you're a Jaguars fan, because right now he was set to be your number 2 back. I mean, you drafted him in the first round. You were excited about him to be like another back you can throw to out of the backfield, and then suddenly you go from having 3 really solid running backs to going down to 2. And let's be honest, your tight end core isn't the best, and outside of your top 3 receivers, your receiving core isn't the best. So you really kind of needed that number 2 back. But right now you still have James Robinson and Carlos Hyde, so it's not the worst depth at that position. But I'm a little bit worried about it, if I'm going to be honest, for this Jacksonville Jaguars team, and it's a huge loss. And obviously Travis Etienne wanted to make an impact his rookie year, and that's just not going to be possible. And another loser, you just have to go with Kevin White, right? Kevin White had He was a first-round draft pick. If you did not know this, he went, I believe, 6th overall. And he has not lived up to his potential in San Francisco. He was hoping to change the atmosphere to New Orleans. Would change that for the better. But Kevin White had a bad outing. Honestly, for people who wanted him to make the roster, he had 2 drops. He had caught 0 passes. He was targeted 3 times. Although, to be fair, one of the passes was inaccurate and he could not catch it. But 2 of them went straight through his hands. And that's just not what you want if you're Kevin White. Kevin White, his goal is to get back in the NFL. That's not how you do it. Like, right now, you were fighting on the verge of a roster spot. Because let's be honest. Let's say Michael Thomas and Deontay Harris, or like Michael Thomas is going to be out with an injury, and Deontay Harris is going to be suspended. So like there was room on the depth chart. Like you're going to have Traquan Smith and Marquez Callaway starting, and then probably Lil Jordan Humphrey and Ty Montgomery as wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. There was room on the roster for people to make wide receiver 5 and wide receiver 6, and Kevin White could definitely do that because there's 2 spots really and 3 receivers in Chris Hogan, Quan Baker, and Kevin White. Now to be honest. I didn't see a lot out of Quan Baker or Chris Hogan, but they didn't. Chris Hogan didn't even play tonight, but they didn't drop balls at the very least. So Kevin White, in my opinion, is outside looking in at the beginning of this roster. He's a big loser, in my opinion. No one else that really popped out to me as a big loser tonight. Oh, that's not true. As wide receivers go, I gotta say, Laquan Treadwell for trying to make his way onto the roster, 53-man roster. And Philip Dorsett, they both did not do great trying to make their way out. Laquan Treadwell at least caught 2 passes for 12 yards, but not as outstanding to say the very least. Philip Dorsett also was targeted twice with 0 catches. So again, if you're trying to make your way onto the roster, Philip Dorsett and Laquan Treadwell, that's not the way to do it in my opinion. In my opinion, Colin Johnson should be the number 4 receiver for this team. But hey everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed that winners and losers. Hit the like and comment. Hit like and subscribe, and if you disagree with some of them, hit the comment section. But hey everybody, this is GGB Coast Pepper saying adios amigos.